Hi, my name is Michelle Holsty. I'm from the Philippines. We moved here back in September of '96. We lived in Quezon City, that's in Manila. So I have a total of six siblings. I mean, five siblings. There's total six of us. The second to the youngest, two sisters and four brothers. My dad worked as a ship steward, so he would travel around the world. He would be home, I'd say, 3 months out of the year and then travel again, so back and forth. So we were just with pretty much my mom, who was a stay at home mom, taking care of the children. And we lived, I would say, comfortably, but sometimes we would struggle too, because with six kids, of course, and we all went to private school. So my dad was a really good provider. And then college is when I started going to like a state university, and I've always played volleyball. I started playing volleyball when I was 9, like with the neighborhood kids and at school. So by the time I got to high school, I was playing as a varsity. And so when I got to college, I played as a varsity as well. And that's when my maternal grandfather petitioned us to come over here to US. So then I was already part of this, I would say, group of friends that would play volleyball all the time, and I enjoyed being there, and I didn't want to come here to US. So pretty much,
How old were you?
I was 18 at that time. Like I said, Philippines is all about families. We're really close, tight. It's all about families too, and friends, of course. And when we celebrate holidays, especially Christmas and Easter, it's a big deal. We have this thing called Simbang Gabi, which is like a dawn mass. You start at, I think, 5 o'clock in the morning for nine days before Christmas. So me and my friends would always be happy to attend that, just because it's early in the morning. You get to eat this dessert that they make there after mass, and it was just like a fun experience. So all that preparation, we had kids caroling from door to door, house to house, and just different activities to celebrate, of course, the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ. So it was really a big deal back home. So when we moved here, our first Christmas here was just us four in that little bitty apartment. So I feel like, oh my gosh, they don't celebrate Christmas here. It's not as festive, I guess. It's totally different. So that was like another, in a way, kind of like culture shock for me. I don't see lights everywhere, and we have like these lanterns that's hanging all over people's houses, businesses. I mean, you can just feel the spirit of Christmas. Even up to after Christmas, they still do that. So here's like, after Christmas, that's it. We're ready for Valentine's Day or New Year's. But it's just, that was one of the hardest thing for me, because Christmas meant like a lot of family gatherings, a lot of get-togethers with family, friends. So when we first moved here and it was just us four, my dad, my mom, and my brother, it was totally different. It was a shock for me. We lived in this condominium type deal, but it's like a 4 units. It's 4 stories, 4 units. So it's really like close knit. Like, we would have this signal calling our friends. My friend would be living downstairs, and we would clap our hands, and we would know what that is. We didn't have cell phones back then, so we would just have this little ways to communicate. And sometimes we would just even get out the balcony and yell out their name. Come on, let's play volleyball, because that's, like I said, volleyball was my life. I started playing volleyball at 9, and my mom would tell me either take a nap, clean up the house, and I would be down there playing in the court with my friends. And then when I went to school, of course, the same thing. You have that close relationships with your classmates, and then volleyball again was my main deal. So that was my life. So when we moved here, as my mom raised us to be good Catholics, we would go to Mass, of course, every week. She would go to Mass every day, which I think was crazy. Didn't have time for that. But when we moved here, like I said, we had to find where's the closest Catholic church, and at that time it was St. Christopher's. So we would go to St. Christopher's when I started driving, of course, and we were looking for some Filipino community, that so we can feel that belongingness, because like I said, it's just a bunch of other, different races around us that we're not used to. We're just so used to seeing mostly Filipinos over there. So we found this Filipino priest. His name is Father Seth Hermoso. So he invited us. He was at that time at St. Helens. So when we went for Mass, he picked us up actually to go to Mass.
Wow.
And so we met a bunch of Filipinos. So from then on, we started having this little, what do you call it? Like connections with other Filipinos. Slowly, we kind of felt that sense of belonging. I started moving to San Jacinto College, and that's when I took pretty much all my bases. I was working full-time, I was going to school full-time, trying to help my mom and dad. Of course, here it's a different ball game. You're in a, I would say, in a different place, so it's not as comfortable as before, so we struggle a lot financially. So my dad was working, my mom was trying to find a job, and she started working at the hospital to become a, she was working as a nurse's aide at Herman Memorial Hospital. And so my brother was going to school, I was going to school full-time, my dad was working, so we were all just trying to help out each other, trying to make it. By this time, I was already, getting comfortable speaking English to everyone, which still not 100% comfortable. And I feel like I didn't actually see a whole lot of Filipinos there. So I still felt like I don't belong here. But then again, I'm here now, so I didn't feel like I belong back home either because I left there. So you're kind of stuck in that middle, like, where should I fit in? Where do I belong now? But then as the time goes on, you get to meet new friends, you get to learn the culture, so you kind of felt that sense of belongingness. And then, but in the beginning, yeah, it was pretty tough. Didn't really have a problem people making me feel like I don't belong here. I guess it's more like your personal self telling you that. But I think what would help is if everyone would just be more open, like asking questions and getting to know each other. I think that would help others as well feel that sense of belonging.